Hi, I'm the dad of the recently deceased Elijah Marsh, February the 19th, 2015. Also the dad of his older brother, Mikhail Barry, with Georgette Marsh. Now, I'm doing this because the TV interview I gave was edited quite a bit, and to answer some questions as to some of the things that are really going on. It's important to know since the incident happened, the mother didn't call me or anyone in the Marsh family to say, this is what happened to your son. He died in our care. These are the details and facts, and this is what really happened. All I've seen is discrepancies on the news media on the part of the Marsh family as to what happened. The grandmother gave an interview where she hinted that she might have been there or not there. Fact of the matter is, the grandmother was not there. And the biggest lie that they told it throughout the whole thing is that the mother was at work when it happened. The mother wasn't at work. She dropped off Elijah 4 p.m. the day before to her little sisters, and then she called in sick to work and then told the detectives that she went to a friend's house. So let's get that out of the way. And then, this thing where they say Elijah went through three doors is not what happened. I cleared this up. Elijah went through five doors. He was sleeping in the grandmother's room by himself. He went through that door, downstairs, the main door, down through a long hallway, one more door to four flights of stairs, then out two more doors to his death. Now, they tried to surmise that he might have stepped on something to open the latch of the door and go outside, but there was no evidence to say that he constructed anything to stand on and open the latch of the door. When the aunts came downstairs, they met the door was open, right? The door was open. So that's what happened there, and then you go further on to the funeral, and then they had an individual claiming to be the stepfather of Elijah. He's not married to Mrs. Marsh. He doesn't share the last name of her or any of the children in the case. He doesn't have any legal rights to any of the children. How could you be the stepfather to one child and not the other? Right? So they tried to construct everything to make it look like a single mother scenario who's getting a little help because the dad is not there, and that is very contrary. I've been in court since 2011 with Mrs. Marsh, paying her support for both Elijah and his older brother Mikhail. Since Elijah has been born, she's been telling people that someone else was the dad, while I've been paying for Elijah, and also he's covered under my benefits. And currently, I have legal access to his older brother, Mikhail, 12 days per month, and that is overnight access. It wasn't until January 2015 that I finally got access to Elijah by myself, on part to a lot of deliberations in the court to keep me from the child as long as the mother wanted. And it's quite sad because when I finally started getting access to Elijah, his two older brothers had to say, "Look, this is our dad." And there was times when I went to pick up his brother Mikhail, and Elijah will say, "Hey, Mikhail, here comes your dad," unbeknownst to him at the time that I too was his dad. So these are some of the mental troubles Elijah was going through at that time. And you must understand, it must be known that his older brother Mikhail was with me the morning Elijah died. He was in the safety of my home, sleeping in my bed. And then, why such contrast in the axis between Elijah and Mikhail? Well, it's for the reasons that I said. When I went to the viewing, for example, I shook many people's hands. People from Mrs. Marsh's workplace didn't know that I was a dad. They were in shock. And then you look at many people said, "Look, I babysat your son. Sorry for what happened. I babysat your son. Sorry for what happened." It seems that everybody and their grandmother in that neighborhood was babysitting Elijah. In the meantime, the court is being told that he needs to be slowly, transitioned to his dad as to not to traumatize him, right? So it's quite sad. I'm just happy that Elijah learned who his dad was before he died and had a good time with me in the short time that I had him, right? In November of 2015. 15, he was supposed to have the exact same schedule as his brother Mikhail. Now, stipulated in the final order, I have a stipulation saying that Mrs. Marsh must contact me anytime she cannot be with the older child, Mikhail, for any obligations. And I had that put in because I've always had concerns about Mrs. Marsh's little sister babysitting my children. You know, they don't deserve that kind of responsibility, you know, at such a young age. And I'm aware that this is a common practice that often the little sisters are alone watching my children while Mrs. Marsh and the grandmother is not in the house, right? So there's scenarios that so many scenarios that occurred when there were shootings in the neighborhood where the grandmother lived, and then the next day I would go and my son is playing on his tricycle outside, which is, would concern any parent. And the fact of the matter is, parents have a biological clock. None of my sons can get up in the night without me knowing. Even if they pee the bed, I get up and I recognize it right away. So the best interest of the child is always with the parents, and that's something that I would like to see change in the court system. When one parent is not with the child, the other parent should get first right of refusal, as my order says. And then the investigation is still going on, and we'll see what happens. Um, a lot of people are going through this scenario in court, and things have to be faster. There's times when my access is violated by Mrs. Marsh not coming to the meeting point or refusing to bring the child for no reason after a time. And when you file, a complaint about it, it takes about 4 months to see the judge again. And then when you do see the judge, there's no disciplinary action for, that prevention of the bonding of the child. Well, until then, God bless Elijah. I'm going to continue raising his older brothers to the best of my abilities, and we'll see what happens in the investigation. I hope this answered a lot of questions and gave you some kind of hindsight as to what's been going on in this scenario. Thank you.